This is Nioh. I got it on Steam for $56 Canadian. I should actually correct myself. It's Nioh the Complete Edition because it's the base game that you can currently get for the PS4 for $80 Canadian, in addition to all the DLC that came with it. I haven't played any of the DLC yet. I don't know if I'll get around to it. I may come back here and there, but I guess there's really no polite way to say this, so I'll just get it out there in the open from the beginning. This game is fucking abysmal. So to start, we're gonna go and just show off the graphics settings here. I've been playing it at the max settings without motion blur because motion blur sucks. And whatever this is, I think it's something like on my PS4 Pro, because I have the PS4 Pro, whenever I get a trophy, it takes a picture. It takes a screenshot. I think that's what this is. Maybe it's like a little movie highlight too. I don't know, but that's off because I don't care about that. 60 frames or 30. It's odd because the lower setting is to the right. I thought it was going to be like 60 and then, 120 or decapped. If it can't hit 60 because you're running on a lesser machine, it's obviously going to go lower. So, but yeah, 60 and 30. So if you have a 144 hertz monitor, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that here. It does do. I'm not going to toggle here, but it does windowed, borderless full screen, and full screen. When it's in borderless full screen mode, the frame rate will frequently, it'll drop, not to like a half rate, so not 30, but it'll be like 27 or 42, something like that. And then it'll just sit there until I come back to this menu and go full screen, back to borderless window, then it flicks it back to the 60 cap. So that's a bug in the engine. Whereas when I leave it on full screen, it just stays at full screen. Shadows are off, low, medium, high. Camera, motion blur is off and on. Reflections off and on. And ambient occlusion is off and on. Missing from here is there's one option from the launcher called rendering resolution, which when you're playing at 1920 by 1080p, which I am, when rendering resolution is set to high, it's rendering at 4K and then down sampling, because as you see, there's no anti-aliasing option here. So rendering resolution set to high is what achieves that. At medium, when at 1080p, it's just rendering at 1080p. And if set to low, it's rendering at 720p internally and then displaying at your chosen 1920 by 1080 resolution, which is better for performance and image than going 720p flat, because then it's going to stretch a 720p image to a 1080p native if that's, I'm just sticking in this scenario, as opposed to doing 1080p chosen resolution and then 720p rendering. But I'm playing at the 4K rendering option because I want anti-aliasing. What's missing from here, though, in my opinion, is a texture quality option or texture size option, because that's part of the reason this game isn't very scalable. They just said, here's the one texture size, and one size fits all. But on top of that, I'm going to do something here really quick just to show. I'm going to put this at low settings, which is everything off, and 30 frames. So this is just the main menu. 30 frames per second, obviously. Why is there it is. Why is the main menu? I've got a GTX 1070 with 8 gigabytes of VRAM. The main menu on the lowest settings and a 30 frame cap is taking up 3.2 gigs of my video card's VRAM, which makes no sense whatsoever. And look at the RAM usage as well. It's actually lower in game sometimes than it is on this menu. That's the start of this really poor optimization job. And again, this is with everything at the lowest settings. I'm not kidding. This game, this is just the port quality to start with. This is already fucking abysmal. You see that these numbers are going up, like the RAM went up a bit. CPU usage obviously went up. So, other options here. We can turn this off for now. There's a ton of little game switches here. I guess I'll leave it on each for a few seconds in case someone wants to pause and look over it, but I'm not going to sit here forever. This one's actually nice. They automatically skip watch movies just because if you die to a boss, when you go back to that boss, you don't got to watch their intro every single time. It'll automatically skip if you have it on there. There's quite a bit of loot in this game. I don't think it shows the option here, but there's the option like Diablo 3. You could say, you know, only show me drops from this quality and above. In this game, you don't want to turn that on. I never turned it on. I don't think you would want to turn it on unless you're doing a new game plus and you're only farming high quality materials. But early on, and as you're leveling, obviously you can get a common drop that's, you know, level 98 that beats your level 82 rare or whatever, or legendary, however this scaling system works here. So you want to be picking everything up. There's a lot of gear to pick up. I do have the sound quite low in the background because I want to make sure my mic can be heard. It's always quiet for some reason, no matter what I do. Camera settings, I have it quite low because the sensitivity, like the speed's really high. It's even worse when you're zoomed in. It defaults to this for aiming, which is really high. When you're zoomed in, it gets even more sensitive, so I have it extremely low. You can rebind controls here. But the thing that's kind of an issue here is some of these buttons are multi-binds, but it only tells you what the first bind is. So when you change this bind to a different command, it doesn't change. It only changes the one it says here. Like this one has the multi-bind listed. But for example, this is also shooting with the bow, or the rifle, or the hand cannon. If you change right trigger for this to anything, right trigger is always going to be your bow and arrow. And there's a couple other buttons that do this as well with the multi-bind, where you change it and then you think it'll change it. Or when I did, I was hoping it would change the multi-bind along with that one, but it only changed that one command. And the issue I was having, when you do a custom control scheme, it saves it as custom. The issue I was having was when I changed my control to custom, sometimes I'd be playing, and just while I was playing, so like even in like a battle, it would flip between custom and the one I had changed from, which was type A, just on the fly, without me doing, like, it was a bug, obviously, right? I don't know if they'll fix it, but it was just, you can't have that. Like, you do a custom control scheme, you get used to it, then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, like, everything's different now. And then it goes back to what you used to do, then it goes back here, and I was like, why is it doing this? So I said, screw it, I'm just going to stick with the default scheme, because I can't keep it up there. This is probably pretty, you know, common knowledge at this point, but it has keyboard support, but no mouse support, which is why you just see the default Windows cursor moving about. The interesting thing is, I'll show this in the game, actually real quick, is it does have full keyboard support. Like, it's not just, you know, up and down arrows on the main menu. You can move your character, you can use items, you can change. Okay, here we go. This is an older file. This is not my actual file. So look, this is keyboard. Probably hear it clicking. So you can move. You can change between your shortcuts for items. You can use. That's me throwing a stone. I'm gonna hit up arrow, and it's trying to use it, but it's obviously. So yeah, shift is block. Control would have been the longer range weapon switch. Space is something. What else have we got here? So yeah, like, they got keys worked in, but when it comes to mouse, it's totally dead for some reason. It's totally dead for some reason. I'm actually gonna go back to the main menu here because I didn't want to load this one. This is an older file I had started after beating the game just to check something really quick. But yeah, you gotta watch a splash screen every time you start it up, like a console game. I haven't found an option in-game or through a Steam startup entry, like a lot of these games have, to bypass that. But yeah, this is my main file, as you can see. So this is beating the main campaign, and not 100%, right? I skipped a lot of side mission stuff, which is, I found it's actually unnecessary, because you do it to be able to beat the main game. I did it without it. And I actually beat it. It was 32 hours clocked when I beat it, and I was level 98. And the final mission recommended 135, and I was like, I'm not grinding to that. Like, I don't need to. So I didn't. I beat it at 98. Loading the map here. This should take me to the map. I believe that's where I left off. Yeah. So I'm going to touch on co-op really quick here. So co-op is this thing called Torii Gate, which you don't unlock until you've beaten the first actual mission. So there's a prologue mission that's like a tutorial. Then you have the option after that to do another tutorial, which shows you all that stuff you just learned, and then some new, very minor how to do the ninjutsu. You got ninjutsu, so here's your sword stuff. Then you have ninja and magic trees, and it teaches you a little bit about that. And then after you finish the first actual mission, you unlock the Torii Gate, which is random encounters are, if you want to be summoned, you have to have completed that mission. So all these ones with checks, I've beaten that mission. I can say specifically, find a player that's doing this mission and summon me to their game if they're summoning people. Where I didn't finish all the ones here, so it's not listing all the missions, or even this one. Pretty limited. So with this method, in order to be summoned, you have to have completed that mission. In order for someone to summon you, they have to have this thing called, I think it's called like an Ochoko cup or something like that, which they're pretty rare. I'm sure people that have beaten the game, they're probably like, oh, there's a way to farm them, but when you're just playing the game your first time, you're not wearing like specific gear farm sets, because this game's a lot like Diablo. You can set up magic find sets. Its luck is the drop rate stuff, but it's magic find. And you can set that up to increase drop rates of specific towards, so like armor or weapons or elixirs, or there's probably a way to do it for cups. But they're pretty rare. So to summon somebody, you need a cup. And you can set up through the system online settings. There's this thing called the secret word. I'm not going to toggle it on because I want me to set it up here. But it'll want me to toggle it on. And if you toggle it on, it's basically you punch in a secret word's a password, and you say if you place a cup, only people that have that secret word on with that password set can join your game. And that's how you get friends to play with you. Because initially, when the game came out on PS4, the only way of co-op was this, random encounters. This yokai realm with a companion wasn't available. And so this method here, random encounters, is basically the Souls method, where they're summoned to your game. And if you're playing with a friend, it probably works okay, but the thing is, this community is so dead on PC. The peak player count was 8.5k, and that's since being new, which isn't a very healthy population. So good luck getting people to join your game. The other thing as well, and good luck finding someone to join. A lot of time I can't even join people. The other thing as well, when this first launched, this has supposedly been fixed, but I'm on the fence because it's KT. If you set it to unlimited, it used to go limited anyway. So when I was playing, I did almost all of the game before they fixed this. So I only had 2 co-op partners the entire game, and both of them were really bad. They wasted my cup. Because you summon someone, if they die or you die, you lose that cup. So the first person I summoned, it was a mission with like docks in water, and they fell off the dock into the water within 2 minutes. That was one of my cups. But yeah, it was going limited anyway. And I found even with unlimited, it's like nobody's playing the game. So, good luck with that. This yokai round with a companion is you start the mission. Okay, first of all, you don't have to have completed the mission. You just need to have access to it. So see this one, no check mark. I can still choose it for co-op. These two, and this third one, no check mark. You can still choose it. So it's just you have to have access to it. And then you can say, find someone that's also chosen this mission, or without conditions, just find anyone that's doing this mode, and you'll both start the mission as actual co-op, and it records progress for both of you. Neither one of you has to have beaten the mission in order to do this. So this is basically traditional co-op, because you can both just say, start from after you beat Isle of Demons, I think it is, and you unlock this. You can start at this submission or this mission, whatever, main mission, and just start playing the entire game. But there is a caveat to that, because some missions you can't do. So see, it's main mission. This first one, if you go over here, so it's a shrine. Shrines are checkpoints. So it's just saying you have a shrine. So you have checkpoints in this mission. The second one is the whatever gate. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the gate. This means co-opable. You can summon people, or you can start it co-op with someone. This one has neither checkpoints nor co-op, and there are missions in the game like this. This level's kind of this world is kind of a bad example, I guess, but just something to be aware of. 100% of the main campaign is not able to be completed co-op. The shrines are, I mean, it's like Demon Souls, Dark Souls. You know, it's a checkpoint. When you hit the checkpoint, you have to activate it in order for it to be recognized. When you activate it, it respawns everything you've killed. When you die, you go back to the last one. It's got this really annoying sound. These guys are called kodamas. You find them throughout the mission, and what they do is they give you these buffs. Not like, you know, stat buffs, but there's 25 per region, and when you max out all 5 for one, you obviously get the maximum bonus. So Amrita is experience, so I get, if I activated this one, because you can only have one active at a time. If I activated this one, I would get 25% experience bonus. And this is all self-explanatory. I preferred Elixir. I'll get to that right here. I preferred Elixir because in order to quit a mission, initially all you have to quit is this thing, because this is unlimited use. See, there's no amount tied to it. It takes all your experience that you've gained in that mission, or that you have on your character at that point. I have 515k right now. So if I was in a mission and I wanted to leave, to go back to the map, it says return to the starting point. That sounds like it means the start of the mission, like quit the mission and go back to the start of it. No, it means quit the mission and go back to the main map, which is this thing I'm on right now. So initially all you have is this, and it takes all your experience to do that. Later on you'll get this, which is, it returns you back here. It's a consumable without losing your experience, which is, I didn't really, because I stuck to missions. So if you don't have a lot of elixirs, which are your recovery items, and the drop rate is pretty low for them. It's a pretty low drop rate. It's not like the Dark Souls. Well, Demon Souls had grass, and there was a pretty high drop rate of, like, there's crescent moon and half moon and full moon. You could get them pretty easily. The Dark Souls games have the flasks, which regenerate every time you go back to a bonfire. This doesn't do that. What it is you have the elixirs, which are consumable, and it has some, you can only carry a maximum of 9, and it puts any excess you find beyond the 9 you're carrying in a mission into your storage. And whenever you die and go back to a shrine, it takes elixirs from your storage. So you can get in a position where you're playing a mission that's, you know, just really destroying you, and you wanna finish it because you're at the 3rd shrine, which is near the end of the missions in most cases. I don't think every mission has 3, but let's just say, so you're at the third shrine, you're almost done, but you run out of elixirs. Then you're in a really bad spot because you have no healing items. You can't really farm them in the missions because the drop rate is so low. So then you're torn between, do I continue playing even though I can't heal myself at all, which I've been in that position once, and that's why I ended up adjusting it, or do I, because this is early, do I sacrifice all the experience I have and not get my body back, if that's the case, to get my experience back, and just bail, go farm healing items, and then come back. So I always just left the buff on the elixirs because that's a really crappy spot to get into. And once I figured out this was what it is, I just went back and farmed a bunch so I'd never be in that position again. And then I just left that buff on to ensure I would never be in that position. Yep. Oh, second here. Bit of a cold. But you get medicine, which heals more, because this is based on, you can wear an item that boosts how much healing you do. There's these you get. Where's my medicine? You'll see here. Elixir effect on life recovery plus 7.2%. And then there's also a stat that buffs it as well. But yeah, you gotta, I didn't use this at all. Like, I did do some stuff, but I didn't forge anything that was of value. This is probably for the New Game Plus people, which I'm not going to be one of those guys. Because again, I think this game is terrible. Dojo is basically, this is a tutorial, and then later you unlock actual stuff from doing it. Mainly in your skill tree. I haven't done all of it because, again, I was like, for what I'm going to get out of the game, I don't need to do this. Tea House is like a, I think it's not really well explained. I think it's like a PvP clan system. But not really, it's not like clan PvP. I guess I'll show it really quickly here. You pick a clan, and then you donate stuff. I don't really get it, so maybe I shouldn't really explain it that much, but there is a PvP option that unlocks through the gate, and maybe that has an effect on this. I don't know, because I'm not doing that. But I can actually level up here. So this is a screen. I went heart and stamina because I went to as a swords user. I think I was supposed to go. No, that's fine. Because stamina reduces your weight, and then key is your stamina, right? Like, it's weird. Stamina doesn't increase your stamina. Heart increases your stamina at lower levels, so. Actually go, need to get dex up. Oh, right, we'll get to it, because there's a lot of stuff in this game that's just so. Okay, so look at this. This is a sword, and there's stances. Like Witcher has this borrows from a lot of games and doesn't really execute any of it really remarkably well. So now there's high stance, mid stance, and low stance, and Witcher has, at least Witcher 1 had the same kind of thing. The new ones have the signs and stuff as well. Or make more use of it, I guess I'd say, because the first one had it. But here's the thing, no matter where you go, it's always just scrolls. And there's nothing to break up to make this easier to navigate, like high and then a line break, mid, line break, mid-low, line break, low. Or like an icon, it's all just scrolls. So here's, some of these are ninja stars, some of these are poison stuff. They're just all scrolls. It's really clunky to navigate, because again, no mouse. Here's your magic skills. Instead of the fire skills, instead of being like a fire icon, like a flame, or like water drop for water, etc., tornado for wind, it's just scrolls all the way through. Like, so if you're just going through this looking for the thing, right? Like, it's pretty cluttered. I only select the one weapon the whole time, which is what you want to do, because there's this thing called weapon familiarity. The higher this gets, you get a slight boost to damage. I don't think it affects this. It may. You do have weapon sets in this as well, like you do in left trigger in Diablo 3. Because that's how I'd really describe this game. It's the difficulty of Diablo 3's launch Inferno, which was also just terrible. With the loot system of Diablo 3 launch, which was also terrible, because that's what this is. It's terrible loot. There's a ton of loot, and it's really terrible. And then it's Ninja Gaiden gameplay with some Souls and Witcher elements mixed in. The story is terrible, so if you're playing for story, you're not going to get that out of this. I'm going to go into a mission here. I'll go a bit earlier, because if I'm talking while I do this, I'm not going to do very well. Was there anything else to touch on? Oh, yeah, right, so there's this thing called Prestige Summary, which is, it's basically the Paragon system from Diablo 3. And there's this, you'll get most of these automatically while playing without thinking, but when you max out these little titles in game, you get a reputation bonus. That goes to this reputation bar, which is just another experience meter. When it fills up, you get a prestige point, and as you see, you can put them into these little boosts. And it's just the Paragon system. This is background story stuff. It's all the story's shit. You can customize your commands, because the default command, right, for the skill you unlock for your weapon, you can change it to a different. So I can say, oh, right button and B is going to be kick instead of Y. But alright, so let's do a mission here. What's a good one? Source of Evil is a bad mission. This game really, it goes on too long, because it basically has 3 tile sets that it recycles the entire game, and it goes on for, it took me 32 hours. 36 hours of recorded playtime in Steam, but that was from other things. 32 hours of actually on this file. Defiled Castle. I'm trying to remember which area this is. Is this the one with the spiders? We'll go Defiled Castle. But yeah, so it repeats, like, you're gonna get sick of the level layouts pretty quickly, because it's just the same thing over and over. Like, you're like, I'm fighting demons and stuff, and you expect the levels to get more epic to represent your character becoming more godlike, but no, you're just always fighting the same things. And that was the other thing about it too, is the enemies, by about the halfway point in the game, you're going to have seen every enemy type you'll ever encounter in the game. They run out the art assets in this, start getting recycled again really early on. They don't even have they didn't even bother doing palette swaps on enemies to say, here's that same one you fought, but stronger. They do it a couple times, and then they just say, screw it, like we're just going to buff its level and just they'll figure it out. Which is extremely lazy, because a lot of RPGs, you know, they get flack if they do palette swaps, because like, oh, that's lazy, they couldn't design an all-new monster. They just said, here, this one's purple now instead of green, and this one's red instead of purple, because it's getting stronger and stronger. But at least they did that much. This one doesn't even do that much. It just does it. It does that like once or twice, and it just says that here's that enemy, it's stronger. But so these are shortcuts. You can open them, obviously, to get back here quicker when you die. The issue with that, though, is when I've already opened this, right? When I played this mission last time, I opened this shortcut. When you revisit the mission, all the shortcuts are gone. It's just like, so if you're like wanting to boss rush stuff or whatever, you can't. Every time you go back, you got to do the entire level all over again, even if you've already cleared it and accessed everything. This is some stinky water. This is actually a really crappy level. I'm going to go back to the menu. Or maybe I'll just try and stick it out here, because I don't know what else there is to say. It is very Diablo-esque with Diablo 3 launch, I think. It's that really poorly designed difficulty curve, along with really terrible loot system. I'm gonna try and summon somebody here just to show you the co-op. So I have 3 cups right now. So it's summoning. Got my blessing on, as always. Offerings are, it's like you can donate your junk items to get things in return. So for example, so you can flag a few, or you can hit a button to flag a bunch at once. I'm gonna flag just a couple just to show this here. What you get. Usually get elixirs. I didn't get anything there. Some experience, right? So small spirit stone, that's nothing. But yeah, that's one way to get rid of junk. You can sell it as well to the blacksmith. You can disassemble as well at the blacksmith. All very Diablo 3 style. You got a bow, 2 ammo types. This guy's back because I used that shrine, so of course he respawned. You also have like a musket or a rifle, again with 2 ammo types. And there's also a hand cannon, which has a really long, cool. After you shoot it, it takes a while to recover, so it does a lot of damage, but leaves you wide open. The upper right, that spinning thing is up here because there's no mouse support. That spinning thing it's searching for another player. This is your living weapon meter. When it gets fully charged, you hit B and Y, at least on the 360 controller, to activate your ultimate. The stances, I prefer a low stance, because the high stance does the most damage, but it has the most recovery time from each attack. This guy's recovering health as he attacks. When they go red like that on the reticle, you hit your strong attack button and you do a thrust, which does the most damage. I do have the common loot set to nothing, like that's why I can't pick it up, right? Because I'm like, I don't want to accidentally pick it up and clutter up my inventory. So there's low, mid, and high. Low, this is a weak attack. This is a strong. Mid does a sweep and a thrust, or sorry, that's a special move. The kick is like a stun thing, or it depletes their ki. Ki is this bottom bar, is your stamina. So you got a wide swing, horizontal slice, and you got a thrust. Strong. So you can see the recovery times, right? Like I'm holding down and moving command after I attack, and it's slow. That blue circle that appears, that blue ring, if you hit the guard button as soon as it gets to the peak point there, you recover the most instant stamina. So if you check the bar up here, if I don't hit it, it takes a while to come back. If I hit it, it comes back sooner, right? And the more accurate you are with the press, the more of that bar you recover instantly. You can also get a skill that makes it so when you dodge, it activates, which is ideal, because instead of going guard and you're stuck, get some recovery. But I'm not sure. I'm trying to think what else to say about this. It is really difficult, especially early on when you have no gear. You can grind a bit to get levels or better equipment, mainly from helping other people or just going back to levels over and over again. But I didn't do that because, again, like look, so the last mission recommended level was 135. I was 98. It's not necessary to be as high as they want you to be, but it probably would make things easier. A lot of that kind of, you know, that soul stuff where it's like you run in, you don't know what's there until it comes down at you. You're gonna die sometimes with that. This level is actually really, I hated this one because of all the toxic sledge stuff. These guys are kind of, because that's their weak spot. They only get the weak spot up after they attack at you physically, and then otherwise they take next to no damage. And two of them is just, this is just really fucking shit. Yeah, I take a lot of damage on that weak spot. But yeah, you start seeing these guys on like World 2 or something, and then like they look exactly the same. There's just not enough variety in any capacity in this game, in the art or anything. And then again, look at the usage. Like looking at this, right? It's not that kind of a game. It's like a late gen PS3 title that got a PC release. That's all it looks like. But yeah, in general, I would just say, you know, that this game, it really is, it's fucking abysmal. At the end of this, you know, spoiler alert, I'm going to put a little black thing up as well, but I'm going to show me just killing the last story-related boss. Here's a visitor. So we'll do like a minute here with this guy, and then I'll carry on just to show some of that. So when they spawn, oh, he left, probably had a connection error, which this game is full of. So these little fog things up here, that just means it's going to be spawning in a powerful enemy. I don't really care if I die here, but you see these guys starting in mission 1, and now you're seeing him again, except now he's got an axe. Like, they don't, there's just not enough variety. I keep saying it because I mean it. I'm not going to see any of the Kodamas because I've collected them all. Well, I missed 4 because there's a side mission I didn't do that had 4. So I might go do that just to get it done. But yeah, see, here's another one of those guys. He just doesn't have a crystal on his back. It's just like, there's not a lot of variety. The fucking poison shit. Well, it's not poison, it's the stench of the, like, I think you're in a sewer or something, so it's poo. Because, you know, LOL. Anyway, I'm gonna bail here, because again, I don't really care. I'm not gonna lose my XP though. But yep, and then yeah, see, if you don't summon somebody, it does return your cup. But that's Nioh really quick. If I was gonna rate it, I'd give it a 2 out of 10. The only reason I ended up sticking with it was because I bought it on Steam. I've been refunding a lot of games because I've been buying a game, playing it, going, no, this is really bad. I'm not sticking to this purchase and refunding it. And I was like, well, give this one the benefit of the doubt, right? Like maybe you're just being too pessimistic about things. Maybe this one will surprise you. And then I went past the refund window and I was like, nope, this was my gut feeling was this was going to be a terrible game. Really poor design. You know, nothing original really, just an amalgamation of a bunch of parts. And it's fucking abysmal. And then I'm past the refund window, so teach myself a lesson. Like there's not a lot to play anyway, so with my gaming time I'll beat this game because it's not like it's impossible. It just really, my deterrent wasn't difficulty. My deterrent was it's poorly designed difficulty. It's poorly designed loot system. It's poorly designed level layouts. It's poorly designed. Like the art's not interesting. The story's not interesting. The music's pretty bland. Like nothing about this appealed to me. But I was locked in. I paid full price. So I'm like, I'm gonna beat it. I haven't done 100% because again, there's still a DLC region that I don't know how to activate. Maybe it's after I beat this, because you beat the main story, then this mission opens up, which maybe leads to it. So maybe I'll get back and do some extra, but like I had no, this game sucks. This game sucks.